Well, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome wherever you are. And welcome to this episode of Legends of the Brand. And this one is a little bit special, a little bit different. And today we're speaking with Stephen Morgan from the National Snow Show. So welcome aboard, Stephen. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Phil. Thank you again very much for having me. Great to be part of Legends of the Brand.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you very much for coming on. It's kind of an exciting time. And this is, currently it's a Wednesday. It's kind of a little bit sunny, a little bit gray, depending on where you are. But the key and important thing is we're lining ourselves up to the National Snow Show, which is going to be at the end of October up in Birmingham. And we're going to chat about that in a few minutes. But before we get there, first of all, let's find out a little bit about yourself, Stephen. And for people who don't know about you, can you just give us a bit of background in terms of who you are and where you're from?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Steve. I organise the National Snow Show, as you said, Phil, and I've been working in kind of large-scale consumer events for many years. And to boot, I'm a snowboarder, so albeit a relatively new one, a couple of years in, but which in this current climate, I suppose, would actually put you almost right at the beginning, seeing as a couple of years means that you probably haven't been anywhere. But
you can look at it the other way. You can sort of say, look at all the years of experience, because you've already got like a year and a half under your belt. That
it's fantastic. Yeah, that was easy. A year and a half belt of almost visiting pretty much all of the indoor snow centres. Well, when I say all of them have been open for as long as that's been possible. But yeah, anyway, I'm a snowboarder and I organise events.
Brilliant. And so even though you're new to the sport of snowboarding, you've obviously, beforehand we had the chance to chat a little bit, and obviously you're a very active person. You obviously like mountain biking and all sorts of board sports and skateboarding, everything like that. And because you're relatively new to the snowboarding world, can you remember your earliest snowboarding experience?
I can, and actually, yeah, you're right. I do like anything really outdoors. I much prefer being outdoors than indoors, as a rule of thumb. And yeah, from skateboarding, paddleboarding, longboarding, axe throwing, mountain biking, anything like that, I'm definitely down for. But my earliest memory would probably be when I first started to snowboard, and that was actually well before any of this sort of C word had popped up, and that everything was still open and everyone could do whatever they wanted. And it was in Milton Keynes, actually, in the kind of the indoor snow centre there, and it was to do my lessons, so I could actually go on that slope by myself without having to be with an instructor or anything like that. And yeah, learning to kind of link turns and flexion and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, that was definitely the first memories, which wasn't again that long ago. It was maybe 2.5 years ago, which actually sounds quite a long time, but seeing as we've all lost a year and a half, that's not actually that long at all. So yeah.
That's all right. That's cool. And with that in mind, obviously, is most of your experience then been indoors as opposed to on the mountains?
Well, yeah, the majority of it has been indoors, and I also got to go up to because they're one of the partners of the National Snow Show. So the Snow Dome at Tamworth, I've been up there a couple of times, so I've used that as well. But actually, just before we went into kind of full lockdown, so that was like March, when was that? March 2020. I managed to go to Glencoe, and that was my kind of first mountain experience. And I've actually said this to a couple of people. I said, look, I absolutely loved it. They had these little hobbit kind of shack things that you could stay in at the bottom of the mountain, and you could wake up and go straight up there and do your thing. And I absolutely loved it. And that was my first kind of experience on the mountain. And people have been telling me, oh my God, if you love that, wait till you go to like this resort and this resort, and they're telling me about this destination and this destination. I'm like, yeah, well, I can't wait for some of those, because I absolutely loved Glencoe. I thought it was wicked. It was my first mountain experience, and I really liked it.
So, do you have a list in terms of the first place you'd like to go? If they turn around and said, right, tomorrow you go snowboarding, you're gonna jump on a plane. Yeah. Where's that place going to be?
There are a load of places that I really
want to go. Choose one. You'll have to choose one.
I know. Well, okay, this is difficult. I'm going to have to say two. Okay, I'm going to have to say two. So one of them would definitely be Larks. because I've spoken to those guys and they've got a wicked kind of freestyle academy, and they do a whole load of other cool stuff there. So definitely that would be up on there. But also, my wife's parents are basically in Spain, and they're not too far away from Sierra Nevada. And so I quite like the thought of being able to stay with them for a bit and then drive up to there and go and do some snowboarding there. So actually, that would probably be my next one. So sorry, it's two. But
That's
yeah,
all right.
both of them.
I'll let you off. I'll let you off. Cool. So, so between the skateboarding, surfing, paddleboarding, and all that good stuff, you have a 9-to-5 job to obviously organize the National Snow Show. So when did you get involved in doing these big, large-scale public events? Has it been quite a while, or?
Yeah, well, it has been quite a while. I mean, if you go right the way back, I used to, and this is right the way back, I used to be a designer and make lighting. That's what I used to specialize in. And we had a little studio in Waterloo, and that was great. Fast forwarded, I needed to get a proper job because I wanted to get a mortgage. So I had to get out of design, which was a great time. But anyway, and then into events. And actually, I kind of, when you ever speak to any event professional, they usually say I fell into events. I don't know why. It seems to be one of those professions that people do seem to fall into. And I actually started at Upper Street Events, and I organised, well, I didn't organise anything at the beginning. I was just on the phones getting people to register, and then progressed there and organised New Designers, which was a show that was very close to my heart because obviously it was my design background, and I actually exhibited at New Designers when I was a graduate. And then I'd been on the other side, and then I was actually organising it. So I did New Designers, I did the cycle show, and I did the adventure travel show. Did those for a fair few years, about 9 years, and then moved on to the Telegraph, where I organised the Ski and Snowboard Festival. So I did that for them for a year there before the Telegraph decided to change their strategy and moved away from live consumer events and focused more on their kind of media publishing side, which is absolutely fine. You know, they're a media company. And then obviously moved into Raccoon Events, where after the Telegraph decided to close down their event, I came to Raccoon Events and said, look, I think we should do this. I don't want this show to kind of die and just not be there anymore. I think the industry needs something to bring it together, galvanize it, not just from a consumer point of view, but from a trade point of view as well, to bring everyone together to do what we all want to do, which is get more people into snow sports, regardless of where you're from, what you do, you know, just to share this passion with people.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, well, looking forward to it in a couple of weeks' time. So before we jump into this year's event, which of the shows that you did, you mentioned the design show, but is there a show that stands out for you in your current career that you are most proud of?
I would probably have to say it was new. Oh God, was it New Designers or was it the Cycle Show? That's a really, really tough one. And I dare say that it will be the National Snow Show, because the National Snow Show is kind of more of my baby. So I've taken the concept, the idea, the vision, the strategy to someone else and said, look, I think we should do this. So whereas the other shows were sort of shows that were already in the company that I worked on. But seeing as we haven't delivered the National Snow Show yet, I won't say that yet, but I'm pretty sure it will be. But New Designers, I would say then, just because it has a lot more of a kind of story to me, because I exhibited there when I was a graduate, and then to be on the other side of it and actually organising it and being the event director on it was, it was quite cool.
That's awesome. So looking then to this year's particular show, and we'll have to do a follow-up show and see whether you're more proud of this from the design show. I'm sure this will be fun. This will be fun. So why are you so excited and passionate about organizing this show or this particular show? Is it the fact that is it your own namesake on there? Is it the fact we haven't had a show in a while? I mean, those are quite obvious things, I'm sure, but what is the little secret sauce or magical thing that you're excited about, really excited about for this show?
As you said, the obvious things are the fact, we've not had a consumer show for the last couple of years. We've not been able to bring the trade together for a year and a half. We've got the Winter Olympics that will be 4 months out from the event when we actually, kind of get to it. But more so, it's that bringing together of the community and getting that vibe and passion and invigoration back into it. We've all had the rug kind of taken from under our feet with everything that's been going on, not just in our industry, across the board. And for so many of us, sorry, when that passion gets taken away, it can be quite, it can be quite detrimental to you. That's something I enjoy, and I can't do it anymore, and that's been taken away from me. And I really look forward to that every year. Obviously I look forward to my Glencoe trip, and I did that, and that was fantastic. But I know there's other people out there who look forward to go to all these fantastic places, and they put a lot of time and effort planning their snow sports holidays, and they can't wait to get out there. And then when that's taken away, it's it's not nice. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing how happy people will be when they're able to come back there, engage with these destinations, get themselves, maybe even treat themselves to a new bit of ski gear, or even just meeting up with mates and going, do you remember that? You haven't had a chance to talk and meet up with guys or girls and your friends, just talking about how great the last trip was and how much you're looking forward to booking your next trip. And it's more about that feeling that comes with doing that. And I think that's what's going to be really exciting to see at the event, is getting people and being part of that, to make them realize that this is back on the cards. We're going to be able to do this again, and they can't wait for it.
I would agree with you, because not being involved in the show per se, speaking to colleagues and friends and people who are interested parties, there's an electricity that's kind of building. And I would say that part of that conduit is the National Snow Show. But I think as well, it's you kind of alluded to it a little bit there. I'm going to say it's almost a bit of a release valve. I'd say the ski show is perhaps a bit like a release valve. It's perhaps an opportunity, and a bit of a tenuous link here in terms of mental health. But I think it's going to be a lovely opportunity for people with a common interest who haven't had that opportunity to come together and to that. So it almost sounds like this is thank you very much for organizing all this stuff as well. But it almost feels a bit like a public service. You're helping all of us to reconnect with one another. So.
Well, no, look, definitely, and I think it's funny you do touch on the kind of the mental health topic as well, that is actually addressed at the show as well. So we work with a couple of brands like AWOL, Radical Clothing, and actually the Wave, which is a inland surfing facility down in Bristol. So they'll be there, and it's all their particular messages around blue health, how this kind of release and pastime and passion can help you not discover yourself, but help you get into a good state of mental health, which I think is important. And it does happen when you do something you love. So if snow sports is something you love, it helps you with that feeling good. And that's what we want to tap into at the event as well.
So one of the things I was going to ask you, we've kind of touched on mental health there a little bit, but do you have a theme for this upcoming season, or the season for the show that you're trying to encapsulate, or as a wraparound phrase or anything like that? I mean, what are you trying to share with people for the upcoming at the show?
Well, the show itself is kind of built on three strategic pillars. So everything we do, we kind of look through those lenses and make sure that it ticks one of those boxes. So the first one is sustainability. So we want to make sure that we have sustainability focused content at the event to help educate, get people thinking, okay, how can I do this? How can I do that in maybe more of a sustainable way? So we make sure that we have that kind of content and brands at the event, so people can investigate, be educated, and just do a little bit more snooping around on that side of things. Our second pillar is accessibility, participation, and recruitment. I know it's kind of three, but it's all about getting more people into the industry and making sure that anyone from any walk of life, or for anyone, basically, it's not, I don't need to sort of categorize who can get involved, because it's for everyone, and making sure that we reduce those barriers to entry, and showing that you can get involved in snow sports on whatever level. There are ways of doing it. So that's a really key thought for us. And actually, if you were, I suppose, to distill the whole show vision down, why do we do this? It's all about getting more people into the industry and sharing that kind of that good vibe and that passion that we talked about before, and showing that snow sports can help do that. So that's really important to us with the participation and recruitment piece. And the last one is retail. And you know, we have brands at the event who are there to give people or show people this is the gear that you can use to pursue that passion. So it is, you know, it's an important part of the whole makeup, the whole DNA of the event. So yeah, those are our kind of three key themes. But as I said, the main one is really getting people into this kind of industry, into the passion and that good feeling that you get from it.
No, I'm already excited.
I've got goosebumps.
Yeah. I was thinking this afternoon I might have to put on like a ski film or something like that, and just
Yes.
watch like powdered snow and everything like that. On that note, what would be do you have a go-to snowboard film that you like to watch?
Oh gosh, I quite like a lot of the shorts that you get from like lots of, I know the brands get involved in as well, but I've been watching a bit of that Red Bull TV,
Nice.
and you know, you get the guys on there doing just the crazy competitions that they do and the jumps and the freestyle sort of content they have. I'm looking at some of this stuff and just thinking, first off, the scenery and the landscapes just look awesome, and then what these guys are doing, you're just like, I want to be like you. So it's anything.
We see them always taking off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
Sometimes you see them land, but yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you see them land, and when they land, it's like even more. And you do, you know, you see them carving down these sides of these big mountains, and the powder just sort of creating this mist behind them. It's that kind of stuff really floats my boat.
I would say, well, that'll be you and Lax in a couple of years' time, hanging out just through the park.
I don't know though, because I did the at the Snowdome at Tamworth. I tried my first, going across my first box in a freestyle, and I'm pretty sure I managed to break my thumb on my landing. So
you don't have to tell people about that. We can edit that part out.
Oh yeah. Edit that part out. Edit that part. Hey, I'll do it again next time though, and I'll definitely nail it.
Brilliant. Obviously the show being up in Birmingham, we were chatting a little bit earlier on before we started recording about some of the changes and the way and where the locations are about the shows, but it being the National Exhibition Centre in Birmingham, and it's not the smallest of places. It's quite big. And so how big are you anticipating the show to be for this upcoming year?
Definitely no. So yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. We're holding it at the NEC, National Exhibition Centre, Birmingham, 23rd, 24th of October, just in case the plug wasn't clear enough at the beginning. But no, you're right. It's designed for large scale exhibitions and large scale consumer events. Hence the reason we're doing that there. And plus, being in Birmingham, our reach throughout the entire UK is a lot more, or a lot vaster. Hence the national snow show. You know, that's why we call it that, is because we want to attract people from all over the place. And we've got Hall 6 at the Birmingham NEC, and that is about 8,000 square meters of space that we'll be using. And that equates to, I did a little bit of research before, you know, a bit quick, but I think it's about 32 tennis courts, which is about 2 acres, and actually you could fit you'd find 172 species of trees, amphibians, and all kinds of animals in the rainforest if you were to cross section that amount of space in the rainforest. So yeah, useless information there, but about 8,000 square meters.
See, there you go. That could be the winning question at the pub quiz or something like that. Yeah, that, you know, maybe we'll have to have a pub quiz or something like that at the National Snow Show.
I like that.
At some point. And everyone has to tune into minute number such and such of the show to find out the answer. Cool. So obviously you have a huge number of square footage there. Retailers, exhibitors, what are we talking there in terms of numbers?
Yeah, so across the board, there's about, so far, I mean, there's still people signing up and jumping on board to be part of the lineup now. But at the moment, we've got 120 odd exhibitors and brands at the event. And quite interesting about that is that we've actually got some brands that you've not seen at a sort of a snow-focused show for a number of years. So Salomon, Dabella, Marco Vocal, they're all there. And trust me, there's loads more. Nordica, we've got Carve. God, now here comes the test. Ride, skis, line, snowboards. I'm trying to think what else is on. We partnered up with Ski Exchange. They'll be retailing a shed load of brands for people to come and check out, engage with, ask questions. Ellis Brigham are back on at the event as well. So I think that's quite interesting about the National Snow Show, is the fact that actually, yes, we've got destinations and the resorts and the tour operators, so you can go there and have a chat about your holidays, get some reassurance. But we've also, as I said, attracted a lot of those brands that haven't been at a large-scale consumer event for a little while. So it's a good chance to come and check out these guys and have a chat.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, having looked at the list of all the different exhibitors and the participants, I think what's also lovely to see is that, you know, you highlighted that there are a few up and coming brands, so some smaller niche brands, some smaller niche retailers, and I think there's also some charities and stuff like that. So it's not just kind of, I think it's obviously great that we have the support of some of the massive brands and like that, but it's also nice to have a nice balance. So perhaps if you're looking for something a little bit different, perhaps you're looking for, you know, some specialisms, you know what I mean?
I get what you mean.
And there's that
some
as
cool
well.
Niche stuff.
Especially niche stuff. And yeah, I think it's great. I think what you guys have been able to do is to build quite a nice community around that sort of thing. So, and the good thing about this sort of thing is that, according to all your friends as well, you take the rest of the year off. So like there's no preparation for it. So in terms of planning all this sort of stuff, I mean, you only work, what, September, October, then you take the rest of the year off. Is that right?
If that, I mean, a couple of weeks in September, the week of the show in October. And then after that, it just kind of runs itself, which is pretty cool. And everything just comes together.
Yeah.
Said no one ever. No. So I actually sort of started putting the plans together for the National Snow Show in July 2020. So that was 14 months, 63 weeks, 441 days, 10,500 hours, 634,000 minutes, and about 38 million seconds ago. So that was, it was a while that we actually started putting plans in motion. And then the official kind of consumer launch, as with all Raccoon events, is a 12-month lead up. And we do that so that we can start engaging visitors, engaging brands, and building that kind of buzzword that you said before, which is very important to us, which is community. So it's really kind of getting all those guys together in it. And it takes a while. It does take a while.
Yeah, no, I get that, but it does make me chuckle because, you know, for a lot of things, you know, perhaps it hasn't been on anybody's quote unquote calendar until like probably 2-3 weeks, maybe a month beforehand, or kind of now it's that's oh yeah, well, I guess they haven't been doing anything. It's COVID, blah blah blah. But well, no, actually, we're quite busy. They're quite busy.
Yeah, just a bit.
So with regards to large scale events like that, I mean, obviously. Things are fluid, things are changing, big events, public, everything like that. I mean, we can only do what we can do and plan for the best. But I guess, you know, organizing these sort of large scale events and the cautions around COVID and all that sort of stuff. Do you guys, what are your thoughts on that right now?
Well, obviously we have to follow the government's rules and regulations. That's like, you know, that's the first point of call, and you have to make sure that everyone is safe at your event. We don't want to create any event where people are not safe, because if people are not safe and they're not coming into it thinking that they will be safe, then that kind of starts to have a detrimental effect on the way the show feels, and then we don't want that happening. So we as event organizers, so we have the Association of Event Organizers, and that's kind of like almost like our governing body, and between a range of organisers in the UK and those guys, we have an all secure, and the venues, to be fair, actually, the venues obviously check in on this and make sure that everything's going to be safe as well. We have kind of what is called the all secure standards. So everyone has a set, not regime, because that makes it sound quite totalitarianism, but it is a set of rules that we all have to kind of follow and adhere to ensure that everyone is safe. And then obviously all the normal stuff like increased hand washing, more sanitizer stations, increasing aisle width as well, to make sure that there is, you know, if people want to have a bit more space between people, they can do that. And then when we send out the exhibitor manual, which goes out to obviously all our exhibitors, there's a whole section on there which says, you know, have you thought of this? Are you keeping this in mind? So I suppose it all boils down to the fact that we want to create a safe event that people can come to with confidence. And at the moment, you know, we're able to do that, and we're following everything we need to make sure that that is set up and people can enjoy themselves again, which is, again, very important to us.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, you recently just had the success of the National Running Show, wasn't it? And had the opportunity to attend that. And again, you know, you feel safe. You know, there's the, you know, you have your passports and all that sort of stuff. So, and yes, it's a great vibe. You know, fantastic day out. So obviously having to work with your organizers and your staff. Do you have a big team of people? Do you want to give anybody a shout out of all the people you're working with?
Oh gosh, so obviously everyone here at Raccoon Events, our marketing team is awesome, and it's always, you know, just amazing to see the volume that those guys have to get through, because generally they're split across a couple of shows and they work really hard on this, and this is actually something across the whole of the company. We all really get under the skin of what we do. So our run show is organised by runners. I organise the National Snow Show. I'm a snowboarder, and even our marketing team, who split across multiple shows, you'll often find them that they actually have passions in at least a couple of the events they work on. And I think that is really important, to have that kind of passion for what you're doing, because you have an intrinsic, you're invested in it, and you want it to do well because you like what you're doing. So I think that's really important. And then another sort of kind of company, so our operations guys, Maelstrom Events, they are there's often stuff that you throw at them and you're like, right, I want to do a 4 meter high, 20 meter long kind of indoor slope, make that happen. And they're like, and you can just see the kind of the blood vessels like bursting, and all this like health and safety and all these like disclaimer forms, and oh my god, we need ambulance and stuff, but they make it happen, and it does happen. So that's always a great guys to have behind you.
I was just had visions as you're saying that the scariest phrase that you can say to one of these people when you walk in is, "Ooh, I've got this idea," and they go, "No."
yeah, that is definitely it. 100%.
So even though obviously there's going to be lots of stuff going on, what there's certain things. Obviously there's going to be food there, there's going to be retailers, there's going to be all sorts of stuff, but what can people do at the show? What can people kind of expect whilst they're there? That's
a great question. So yeah, you sort of summed it up quite nicely there. There will be food, so you'll be able to get food and drinks. That's always a nice bonus to have at any show. All the brands, the retailers, tour operators, destinations, resorts, and as you said, the charities, they'll all be there, all that are kind of endemic, so they're related to the snow sports industry. Then the have a go and kind of experiential stuff would be our main snow stage, where you have inspirational content delivered by our athletes, Olympians, and keynote speakers, ranging from Ranulph Fiennes, Billy Morgan, Katie Ormerod, Eddie the Eagle. We've got Dan Egan, Benjamin Alexander, a couple of the guys from Mount Noir, Urban Shredders, Shemi Alcott, Jamie Barrow, Jamie Nichols. So there's that whole plethora of inspirational content going on there, just to motivate people, get them back into the right kind of headspace and vibe. We have the Snow Skills Cabin, which is more educational, so you'll be able to learn and brush up on and hear more of your kind of techniques. We have Warren Smith delivering content there. Basie, The Wave will actually be doing a talk on transferable board sport skills. Cool. Western Backcountry are doing a piece on split boarding, because obviously we know that the touring kind of scene has really exploded, and the whole backcountry side of things have really exploded last season for anyone who was able to actually do it. RAF Nordic are doing a biathlon experience.
Oh, do you get to shoot things?
You get to shoot things with a laser gun. See, that was one of the ideas. Yes. That was one of the ideas. I walked into the operations thing and I was like, I've got an idea for a biathlon experience where they need guns. And they just basically sent me out the door. They were like, yeah, no, don't want to hear about that. Guns at a large scale event. No thanks. Anyways, laser guns. RAF Nordic are doing that. So that should be pretty cool. Greystone Action Sports have a skateboard mini ramp. We all know about transferable ball sport skills, skateboarding. We all know that I like skateboarding as well, so that had to make its way into there. Green Over with a carver board demos, so it's a way of, you know, practicing maybe your carving on tarmac. Red Bull are sponsoring and taking ownership of our riders and VIP lounge. We have the Alpine Bar right in the middle of the show, and not to mention Snowdome Tamworth are doing our indoor dry slope. So that'll be a place for people, kids, families, to have a bit more of a taster session into, okay, so what is this whole kind of skiing thing? And that kind of feeds back into our second strategic pillar of getting more people into the industry and showing them that, you know, anyone can have a go on it and this is the way you do it. So yeah, there's quite a bit going on.
That's really cool. And you mentioned a whole bunch of speakers there. Is there one that you're particularly looking forward to seeing or listening to?
Yes. So Benjamin Alexander is definitely one of them. He's on his way to becoming the first Jamaican alpine skier into the Olympics, which I think will be pretty awesome. He did coin it himself as the kind of a real life Cool Runnings, which I think is just, you know, which is great anyway. And then you have Sir Ranulph Fiennes, just because, you know, arguably the world's greatest explorer. The stories are just, you can just sit there. He's one of those people you can just sit there and listen to. And then you get kind of the kind of more flashy guys, you know, they've got a cool story behind them. So Eddie the Eagle, can't wait to listen to some of his escapades and what he's been up to. I know there's that movie, which I've got to admit, I haven't actually seen the movie, but I will see it definitely before the show. And then from my own kind of freestyle stuff and interests, obviously Billy Morgan, Katie Ormer and Jamie Nichols, you know, just to hear those guys and see some videos and footage and just be like, oh, I really like what you do.
Yeah, that's good. Good. It'll be good fun. It'll be and I guess it'll be like a timetable of speakers and everything like that.
So. Oh god, yeah, that'll be up on the website, and you'll be able to find it on the website. There'll be a timetable on site, and then also we're doing a digital kind of show guide that people will be able to download, and you get everything up on your phone, you know, all downloaded and cached there, so you don't have to worry about any signal stuff
in a big metal box. No.
Yeah.
So you've obviously done lots and lots of shows. You've done participated in them. You've probably, you know, organized them and everything like that. How would you plan your perfect day at the National Snow Show to encompass all the things you want to see?
That's actually a really difficult one to answer, because at every single show that I've done, pretty much every single show that I've done, I always walk away thinking, oh, I wish I had time to go do that. But to be fair, that may be because I'm working and I can't always, you know, just sort of like walk around and take my time and having loads of fun.
I mean, you don't have a strategy in place. I mean, like, you know, like walk everything first and then go walk through this, you know, like Chris, like, so I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not exactly the same as the show, but like I remember when I was growing up and we'd go to a buffet. And my dad had a theory on how to deal with the buffet. And it was kind of like, get the meat first, because that's obviously the most expensive. If you have a roll, make sure you hold the roll in your fingers underneath the plate. Yeah, because then you're not taking up more space, and they kind of, so you need to have a strategy when you go to a show.
Yeah, now I feel massively underprepared. I feel like I should have your dad's sort of buffet strategy like under my belt. And how would that even work? I mean, do I sort of anyway, I'm not even going to go with that. But I think I need more of a strategy now. I get too distracted and like, oh, that looks cool, and then I'm over there, and then you sort of been walking around for hours and maybe go and tune into a show, not into a speaker or a talk or some sort of content, because that gives you a chance to still be having fun at the show, but also rest your feet. Yeah. And you can get back up, and then maybe. I definitely love to have a go at all of the have a go experiences. So the biathlon, the skateboard, the slope, the carver board, all of that kind of stuff is a must, because it's just a bit of fun and everyone loves to have a bit of fun. But yeah, I think I need more of a strategy. That's probably why I've been missing stuff, because I don't have a strategy. I need to go
Well,
around there
I tell
thinking,
you,
yeah,
after we jump off this, man, we're gonna have to, we'll map it all
yeah,
out. It'll be
yeah,
like, you know those movies we see in the Second World War movies where they have like the ladies and they're moving stuff across the table, kind of like
yeah,
organizing it. That's what has
like
to do.
that.
Yeah,
Be like a
that'll do.
massive game of Risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll work out the strategy, and also um, a great thing is with the snow show tickets is that they're valid for 2 days. So hell,
Oh, that's great.
maybe
So,
that's the way to do it.
boom.
Double
First,
whammy.
first day, yeah. Do all the fun. Do all the have a go on the first day, because the second day, when you're maybe not feeling, maybe you spend a bit of time in the Alpine bar, you would,
Yeah,
yeah, just putting it out there.
nice.
So when the show's all done, and when can you relax? Do you relax at 10:01 on the first day? Kind of go, right, I'm done. You start, or do you relax at when the last van's pulled out, when the doors closed on Sunday evening?
I suppose relax would be like, implying that your kind of stress levels are going down. And I don't think, and this is pretty much every event organ, I don't think your stress levels ever really go down. They just have peaks at certain points, and then they go back to kind of like a manageable level. But there's definitely the peak at, build up, because you've got to make sure that everyone's there and, everything gets built up and the show looks absolutely fantastic. So that's the first peak. And then, the first opening day, you're like, oh God, is everything in place? Have I done everything right? And all that. And then it kind of goes down again. I think the second day, everything's open, everything's running, it's all going well. That's when your stress levels probably start to drop down, but back to, say, maybe a normal level. And then when you come off site and then you go home on the Monday, then you have a real chance to kind of just switch off, and your whole body just kind of crashes, and you're just like zoom. Because even when the show closes, we have the kind of the industry VIP drinks on the Saturday night. So that's from 5:30 to kind of 7:30, and then you're kind of out with your team having a team meal, celebrating that you've done your first day. So it's quite long days, to be honest. You're on site from like 7 o'clock in the morning, and you'll usually leave at about 7 o'clock in the evening, and then you'll meet up with everyone and make sure that everyone's okay. And so it is quite long days. It is, that's events, and it definitely can have its pressure points. But when you've been working on something for, and do I really need to recap the 38 million seconds? But when you've been working on something for that long, and then you see it, the doors open, that's what we kind of live for. That's what keeps us going. So yeah, it's awesome that doors opening and you walking into something that is real, and you've been talking about it for a year, and now it's there and people are there and they're having a good time. That is just, as I say, that's what we kind of live for.
So in terms of people coming to the show, we've kind of covered lots of different bits and bobs here, but is there who is the show for? Who do you want to serve? Who is really the person who you would love to come to the show? And I'm also going to say, who is the person who shouldn't come to the show?
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so who would I love to see there? Obviously skiers and snowboarders, but I think it's kind of one of those ones that if you build it, they will come kind of thing, because they've got the passion and they're engaged, they'll be there anyway. I'd really like to see new people, people coming through the door who are thinking, oh, you know what, my mate, they ski or snowboard and they've been talking about this stuff the whole time, and I really want to discover it for myself. Those kind of people with that kind of mindset coming through the door. And not only, okay, my mates ski or snowboard and they talk about it all the time, and now I'm coming to the show and I really want to discover this kind of stuff, but also the people who have maybe that kind of rug being pulled from under your feet that we mentioned earlier. That's not only for the snow sports people, that's for a lot of people who have missed out on their summer holidays as well. So now it'd be quite cool to see those people going, right, usually I do my summer holiday, I've not had a chance to do that. What is this winter holiday thing all about? What are people talking about? And so I think it'd be quite cool to see some of those guys come through as well. So generally, I'd like to see, obviously, the skiers and snowboarders, and I think those guys are there. They'll always be there to support the industry and be a part of it. But a lot of those new guys looking to discover snow sports, I think would be pretty cool as well, and really feeding into our kind of, our grassroots and getting that new young vibe and energy and blood into the
I think
industry as
actually
well.
you hit on something that is actually quite interesting. You mentioned about the a vibe and energy, and I think from past experience myself is that it's lovely trying to think it's all inclusive, but it's also all ages, all family, because ultimately, you have some people who, there's some great products out there that allow people to come back into the sport that perhaps had maybe found difficult putting boots on or found difficult carrying heavy skis and all that sort of. So the great products out there for that makes the family ski holiday a family experience much more inclusive. So people of all generations, I think. But then the other thing, which is potential, and I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but I think you might find, for example, that somebody who's perhaps looking for a career change as well, that there's opportunity to perhaps work with retailers, perhaps work with brands, or work with some of the charities. And this is a fantastic opportunity if you have an inkling of interest in the snow sport industry or some of these charities, that there might be an opportunity to go and at least chat and make connections, network, and link up with people.
You're so right. And because there has been a huge move to people thinking, okay, what am I doing now? And reassessing what that is. And why not come and discover something completely new at the snow show? Yeah, definitely. No, I love that thought. That's a great idea.
Cool. I'll let you have that one. You can have that one.
Yeah, thanks. I'll definitely tune into whatever minute we're on now, but I will be tuning in.
Fantastic. So outside of events, would you consider yourself an organized person, or are you kind of like cleaners, for example? They clean houses and buildings immaculately, but their house or their car is a pigsty. I can turn and think, I just can't be bothered to do it again. Is that you, or are you organized at home?
I am quite organized. I'm quite I'm organized to a level, I suppose. I'm quite a driver, if that makes any sense. So I'm quite a pusher. So I want to, when something starts happening, I want to keep it going, and I'll keep driving and pushing for it to happen. I don't know if that necessarily means that I have to be organized to do that, because I can just push, but definitely a pusher. And I suppose with my creative background, you'd probably say that, are creatives really that organized? Probably not. But I have got the nickname Spreadsheet Steve, so maybe I'm quite organized. Yeah,
that's what you think.
Yeah. Actually, no, definitely cut that bit out. Okay, but yeah, no, moderately organized, I would say.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to ask you some 3 quick fire questions here, which you have to answer. So the first one is, would you rather, at the end of après ski, beer or Glühwein?
Beer.
Okay. You're traveling, you're on holiday, you're somewhere in the Alps. Fondue or raclette?
Raclette.
Nice. And you're in the mountains, mountain of your choice. It could be Glencoe, doesn't have to be. Carved turns on freshly groomed runs, or bumps in waist-deep powder?
Ooh. Freshly groomed. Just at the moment, just because I still need to, get myself. But I think I would progress, but no, freshly groomed, I think, at the moment.
Fantastic. So I tend to ask everybody these final 3 questions just before we wrap up there. So for the National Snow Show, if people were to take away a sentence or a phrase that encapsulates the National Snow Show brand essence, or the experience you want them to get out of it, what would that be?
The mountains are ours.
Cool. Like it.
It's quite straight to the point, wasn't it? The mountains are ours. Because for everyone and anyone, no matter where you're from, whatever, they're ours.
Brilliant. What do you want your sporting legacy to be, or your show, your events organizing legacy to be?
I would actually quite like the National Snow Show to be my legacy, that gets developed and pushed and evolved, and and does stuff for people.
Do you foresee perhaps being obviously it's a National Snow Show that perhaps a north and a south in the coming years, or do you think Birmingham is its ancestral home and that's where it's going to stay?
I think there will be extensions of it, but and maybe even potentially some overseas extensions of it. But I think at the moment core will be Birmingham, but there may be some other activations, let's say, that we do around the UK.
Nice, cool. You heard it here first, or second, or You heard it here from him. Brilliant. So finally, then, as an individual, who do you think a legend of a brand is and why?
Okay, I've got. You're going to hate me because every time you say give you one, I'm like always. Well, I've got two. I've got four. I've got five actually. No, I've got two this time. I'll keep them really quick. So
Okay.
Phil Knight from Nike. Now one, I like the brand, but also the drive that guy had at the beginning to actually get in the stuff that he went through just to make it happen. I think is just admirable. I think if you can take just 5% of what he did and just do that in whatever walk of life or whatever you want to push, I think it's just amazing. His drive and determination was killer. And the other one would be Michael Jordan, just for being such a pioneer. And they're quite weirdly related, although Air Jordan is like the second biggest brand below Nike. But anyway, Michael Jordan, just for being a pioneer and just being top of his game. He is just like awesome. So yeah, those are my two.
That's brilliant. Well, that's brilliant. So obviously, we've been obviously chatting about the National Snow Show, which is coming up. So I guess probably one last plug or question with regards to that is what would you say are the top 3 reasons someone should come to the National Snow Show?
We touched on quite a few of them. So the kind of the speakers, the brands, but more the community and the support. The industry needs the support at the moment, you know, amongst all other industries and horrible stuff that's been going on out there. We need the support. We don't have an Eat Out to Help Out scheme for the snow industry, but it would be great if people can come to the event to show their support and get it moving again, because that's what we need.
Brilliant. Fantastic. And if people want to know more, if people want to get tickets, anything like that, how do they get tickets? How do they get in touch? How do they find out more?
Well, I'm pretty sure that you'll have a very nice ticket code up on your kind of socials and feeds and stuff like that.
Use code LEGENDS. Yay!
Use code LEGENDS very quickly because they're free at the moment. That won't be lasting for much longer. And then obviously you can go to the nationalsnowshow.com nationalsnowshow.com and get your tickets and book your tickets through there. So
brilliant. And you'll have information there about how to travel there and get there. If people have never been to the NEC before, it's all fairly straightforward, easy connections.
Yeah, for sure. There's how to get there, what's on, plan your visit. You can check out all the brands. The exhibitor list is up on there. You can check out all the features, all the stuff that I've been rabbiting on about is all up on there. And yeah, if you have any other questions, there's also a contact form on there, so you can always drop us a line and we will get straight back to you. There's also a subscribe button to our newsletter where you'll find lots of our brands are doing giveaways, competition highlights, and you'll be able to work out a little bit more about what's going on at the event.
Brilliant. And I guess do you, not YouTube, but there's like Twitter feeds and all that sort of stuff. There's those links are all in that part of the world. Is that right?
For sure. Yeah. You go to our website and you'll be able to see our full sort of social links. And definitely, tune into Facebook and Instagram and obviously Twitter. But yeah, loads of competitions and information up on there all the time.
Wicked. That's awesome. Well, I really thank you for your time today, and it's been a blast getting to know you and finding out about the show and just having a bit of a natter and getting kind of just really excited about the snow show because I think we all kind of need it, and it's just kind of something for us all to look forward to and be a bit happy and positive about. So thanks for your work and putting all this together, and look forward to meeting you. And thank you very much for your time.
No, thank you so much, Phil. It's been great. Always happy to come back again if you'll have me.
Oh yes, no, well, I'm sure we can have some banter, especially when you're doing your tricks and lacks later on.
Oh God.
All right, my friend, you take care and have a good afternoon.
Cheers, Phil.